fucking with you, okay? Alright? But yo, nigga, that nigga would take me to, they used to call it the sticky icky. Doug would take me to get that shit, to get that black shit on your finger when you trying to roll it. They don't call it that no more, Doug. But Doug, let me tell you something, my nigga. You forever live in my motherfucking heart. Every time I speak your name, nigga, it's of motherfucking king status, son. I'm looking at it like, yo, I wouldn't have went to their parties anyway. But I just want to put it on Dougie D. Look, I told Benny Medina myself, nigga, you ain't slipping no dick in my ass. Fuck you. That's what got me dropped off the label. But in the meantime, motherfucker, my nigga Doug is there bringing me, motherfucker, where the fuck I gotta be to do what the fuck I gotta do, nigga, where the weed at? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Man, yo, fuck out of here. Y'all niggas don't know who the fuck I know and how I know him. And that nigga Doug, nigga, that nigga motherfucker, he's certified, yo. That nigga had me. And know what? You wanna know the funny shit about California, y'all? California respect you for who the fuck you are. Now imagine Dougie. He a California nigga, right? And this nigga is bringing MC Shan and motherfucking Watts and Compton, and this nigga got on a red shoe and a blue shoe. What the fuck? But let me tell you something about California. Them niggas made me notice that shit was serious. But they never made me change my shoes. California respected me for the artist that I was, and not saying, Doug, you know this shit, nigga. You probably the nigga that took me to the donut spot that when his talker, it had to be you, nigga. How the fuck else did I get around California? When we was at the donut spot, right? And motherfucking that man, his son was talking to me, and when he saw I had a red and a blue shoe, that nigga snatched his son up. So you remember that nigga snatched his son up like he was talking. This nigga crazy. He got on a red and blue shoe. What type? Nigga, Doug, you was there. You took me to the donut spot, you motherfucker. But that's how California. If you would, them niggas motherfucking, cause I rolled the way I rolled, right? At first I would go and come, them niggas see a red and blue shoe, and they'd be like, oh, that's MC Shan. Cause Juice Crew did the shit that nobody else did. Everybody else hid in the hotels and all that shit. But the promoters, they could bring Juice Crew to their family's house. We'd go cane all our beers. We'd have barbecues at the folks' house. Dig what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you, my California experiences, motherfucking, that nigga's Dougie D, yo. That's my motherfucking heart, son. That nigga done got all big and shit. Yo, Doug, I'm still a skinny ass bitch. You see it? You see it, nigga. I ain't got time. Weird shit, nigga. That nigga Dougie D. Y'all follow any of y'all listen to sport? I don't fucking watch sport, but I know my nigga does it. And he has an interesting little thing that he does with the sports. He keeps you up on sports. So y'all see him. It's at Dougie D. DOUGIEDEE with an underscore. You dig what I'm saying? Follow that nigga, you know? I mean, y'all sports niggas gonna love him because he be talking that sports shit. Like, y'all niggas could kick that sports shit back and forth. But I want to tell y'all about that nigga. I'm glad you popped on, Dougie. I love you, my nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. Them niggas wanted me to go to the dick and the ass parties, nigga. Fuck y'all. Y'all ain't know my man Dougie outside waiting for me, bitch ass nigga. We was in Compton. We was in every motherfucking hole you could imagine, nigga. Look, Doug, like I said, you're married, and this was long ago. That nigga had the bitches ready. Oh, that's it. That nigga used to line me the fuck up. What the fuck, nigga? So, Dougie, like I said, wifey, this was long before your time, long before your tender, and you don't have to. It wasn't him. I'm the one that got bodies. I'm the nigga that got bodies and shit. I was fucking all them. He was just bringing me to the pussy, okay? So don't think that he got more bodies than he fucking told you. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying was Doug was the nigga to make sure I got some California pussy. Like I said, y'all love to hear the story, nigga? Fuck out of here. I got some stories that'll make y'all motherfuckers laugh. What are you talking about? Y'all niggas got it fucked up from this state to, nigga, I'm on East Coast, West Coast, this coast, that coast, nigga, boop, 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 boop. Dougie from LA, nigga. Y'all niggas got me fucked up. And like I said, the way y'all played the rap game is what made LA what it is. Where, alright, y'all niggas want to be Crips and Bloods, because when I was going to LA, it wasn't no Crips and Bloods outside of Los Angeles. Y'all had y'all look, but you wasn't Crips and Bloods, right? But then when y'all started adapting that across the country, and you want to be on your record claiming this and that, you better make sure you know where your motherfucking airplane is going to land in California, motherfucker. Because I thought, look, let me tell y'all something about California, my nigga. I'm a New York nigga. You know, New York niggas think we the hardest niggas everywhere, right?
Why don't you have any more? Because the government's closed. Go find some more money. That is so far and above any legal authority. Go find some money. Figure it out. What's your plan? Well, we'd had a plan. We had a plan to open a government. That was our plan. The other plan is to get rid of like half the people who are going to get these benefits. You know, the ones who ain't from here. I don't know what you want us to do, Your Honor. Matter of fact, I don't believe you have the authority to be telling us what to do. They don't. You're going to hear that.
Either way, though, even with this order right now, or this ruling that she gave us, these people will not be getting their benefits on Monday, on November 1st. There will very likely still be a lapse while they figure out exactly how this will all play out.
Good luck. How in the hell do you figure this out? And how long of a lapse? Is the judge going to figure that out? Oh, you got to get it out by Wednesday. How? What mechanism do you as a judge tell our employees they need to do this and do that? You can't compel that. Trump and the administration could drag their feet for a month. There's literally nothing they could do. That's why the Democrats have put this in the realm of the press. There is nothing this judge can do. There's nothing the Democrats can do. It's all media. It's all media trying to paint the bad Republicans want to starve babies. There's no legal recourse here. And by the way, even if there was, who's going to enforce it? I mean, we are at a Jacksonian crossroads if I've ever seen one. What are you going to do? You control nothing. And you've made that known quite well. Oh, we don't control the House, the Senate, the White House. You don't control anything. How are you going to make this happen? How are you going to enforce this? With the media. That's it.
All right, so it'll be difficult for many millions of Americans who are not going to get that funding immediately if they do end up getting it at all.
So in terms of SNAP and whether or not the government can find the money to do it, the judge is Indira Talwani in Massachusetts who says it's likely illegal what they're doing, and she wants to know by Monday if they can pay for it. Here's what the New York Times reported on the SNAP court hearing yesterday. Entering the hearing, top officials in the Trump administration had acknowledged that they had billions of dollars left over across multiple federal accounts, including money in an emergency reserve specifically for SNAP. But lawyers for the Justice Department signal that the administration could not or would not use those funds despite the looming shortfall.
All right, so you just heard that. That was the argument. The judge didn't want to hear it. The judge basically stepped into a bear trap. See, the judge should have known when you start talking about budgetary and allocation procedures, those things are conducted by law. It's not like President Trump could just write a check. Okay, here's some money for... No, you can't do that. Money that's allocated for X or Y, you can't dip into that and do this and do other things. That's illegal. So this judge is advocating for illegality. We're slippery slope. Yeah, we're right there.
Explain that.
Well, one of the arguments apparently is that some of the reserve funds for SNAP are specifically for natural disasters. We know those are going to come, and they say we don't want to deplete that because we're going to need it at some point. But they also say, despite the fact that the Trump administration did allow SNAP to remain funded during the shutdown 2018 to 2019, they say things are different this time. Different funds have been expended. There are different laws they claim tie their hands, and that Congress has got to do something to make that money movable and fungible again. They say they just can't. But the judge did not sound like she's buying it. It sounds like this judge in Rhode Island today also does not buy it.
This judge in Rhode Island. Oh, by the way, this is the same judge who had previously ruled that Trump couldn't do this or couldn't do that and got smacked down, and he ended up doing whatever it was she stopped. I forget. There's so many times that these district court judges try to do things. This has been a planned operation. The Democrats know they've got nothing, so they've got these pigeonholed judges that they have decided they can go to, and they're going to rule whatever the Democrats want, whenever the Democrats want. And so it's merely a speed bump. What can we do to slow Trump down? So either Trump needs to play along and wait for the appellate procedure, or he needs to acquiesce. That's it. Oh, well, there is a third thing. Tell him to go pound sand. And then deal with the media stuff after that.
She was also saying kind of like, guys, it's the easiest thing in the world. I don't even know why we're having this conversation.
Yeah. It is easy. Instead of trying to make the USDA jump through hoops and try to figure out where we're going to give the money, what percentage to who, how about you just order the Democrats to sign a continuing resolution? You're doing all these things extraneously trying to make President Trump do stuff, but the answer to it is, why don't you order that? They don't. Now listen, I think this next cut is Brooke, forget her last name, she's the USDA or the Agriculture Secretary. And this cut, I believe, is from Mike Johnson's press conference.
The fact that the Democrats are saying, but wait, USDA has money in their accounts, why it is really their fault, I've seen it over and over and over from some of their leaders, is absolute false, and it is a lie. We have been saying on October 10th we sent messages out, on October 24th we sent messages out. These benefits end on November 1st. Now, let me get down into a little bit of the details on that to better explain.
All right, so as I've said to you, when I gave my hurricane analogy, they knew this was going to happen. There was no secret. They've had advance warning. They've had basically 4 weeks. Hey, this is going to happen on November 1st, guys. And they did nothing. So I want you to pay real close attention as she and Mike Johnson, they outline the actual law behind all of this. The law that tells them specifically what they can and can't do. pretty much you're not going to see this on CNN or most of the news channels, maybe not even on Fox, but they're going to tell you specifically what the letter of the law is. That's really important.
So there is a contingency fund at USDA, but that contingency fund, by the way, doesn't even cover, I think, half of the $9.2 billion that would be required for November SNAP, but it is only allowed to flow if the underlying program is funded. It's called a contingency fund, and by law, contingency fund can only flow when the underlying fund is flowing. So, for example, if today the Democrats say, "Oh, never mind, sorry, we'll open the government," and SNAP flows, Hurricane Melissa or one of the hurricanes hits, that's the contingency fund that we would use to send more money into the vulnerable communities that are harmed by a specific event like a hurricane. But it is a contingency fund that can only flow if the underlying appropriation is approved. And listen, even if it could flow, it doesn't even cover half of the month of November. So here we are again in 2 weeks having the exact same conversation.
Now that's really, really important. All of this that's going on right now is going to happen again. They only have enough money anyway. Even if they agree and release it, it only covers half of November. And the other half is where Thanksgiving comes. And everyone's going to want to go and get their Thanksgiving food, and there's no money. So whatever happens in the next couple of days, we're watching a repeat. It's going to happen again, unless something stops this. And it's going to happen again in December. So every 2 weeks, we're going to see this until the Democrats sign this doggone piece of paper. And she's telling you. So I'm not sure if you understand. I want to break that down. What she said is there is a contingency fund, but it's based upon this budget running out. You know, you, your family, you and your wife, you and your husband, you say, we've got a savings account as our reserve. Reserve. You understand the word reserve. It's a just in case account. It is a break glass account. Over here, this is our family operating account. This is our checking account. We only have a reserve because we have this. Because every week or every month, you take a little bit here and you put it in this. So that only exists because you have funds flowing. If you have no funds flowing, that's all you have. That means your lights, your television, your cable, whatever, your internet, all these other things aren't going to get paid. And then you dip in this, and then it's all gone because you still have no flow coming through. Democrats don't understand that. They never have. It's always been a money grows on trees type thing with them.
I'll just add to that. The Democrats are lying about that, and I think they know that. Some of the ones who are out saying it are actually attorneys. They can read the black letter law themselves. They've even filed a lawsuit, you saw, to try to do it. Why? Because they wanted a talking point. They know that's a frivolous piece of litigation. They know they're going to lose, but they also know it'll take many weeks or months to have that ultimately determined by a court because of the way the justice system works. So they're using it as a talking point to try to claim. I believe they know for a fact that what they filed in the court is false. You know, they're lawmakers. They're supposed to know how the law works. And so the whole thing is just shameful. And they're using the people as pawns in this game. That underlying fund that the secretary just addressed was unfunded by the Democrats themselves when they voted against the CR.
So you understand what he's saying? They lit the fire. They're the ones who underfunded it to begin with. They lit the fire. They have no way of putting the fire out, and so they're asking someone else to come in and take care of this mess that we created and pretend like it's a Republican issue. It completely boggles the mind how people aren't screaming at them.
CR would have kept all this funded, and they chose not to do it. Not once, not twice, 13 times in the Senate, once in the House, 14 overall.
So you only hear people on the right saying that they haven't done something 14 times in a row. The media won't talk about it. So the people who want their SNAP and food stamps don't care. All they care about is get me my money. You've seen the videos. Which puts President Trump in a very precarious situation. And it's a situation based upon messaging. If he tells this judge to go pound sand, the media is going to immediately say that President Trump is ignoring a court order for politics. That's what he wants to do. He is ignoring this when he's got the money, he could be feeding people. The judge said you got to do it, and President Trump is saying no. And so I think the Democrats want him to go Andrew Jackson. I think they want him to go there. There's too many things happening right now. They're pushing and pushing and pushing. So what is President Trump supposed to do? Well, at 6:10 p.m., he posted this. And it may not make some of you guys happy. It says, our government lawyers do not think we have the legal authority to pay SNAP with certain monies we have available, which she just talked about. And now 2 courts, not just one, but 2 courts have issued conflicting opinions on what we can and can't do. I don't want Americans to go hungry just because the radical Democrats refuse to do the right thing and reopen the government. Therefore, and this is really important to understand, therefore I have instructed our lawyers. Notice it doesn't say USDA administrators. Notice it doesn't say Brooke Rollins from agriculture. That's very important. Because the media is going to say Trump capitulated and he's given the Democrats everything they want. That's what the media is going to say. But you have to read his words. I have instructed our lawyers to ask the court to clarify how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible. What you're looking right there is a bear trap. He's putting it back on the court. So you think we can use this money, huh? Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm not really sure. The law says, like Mike Johnson, it's black letter law. The law says this. I'm asking you to clarify how we can break the law. I'd love for you to give me a get out of jail pass here, because I'm the president and I can't just openly violate laws that are on the books. See, I think the court tried to trick him. I think the court tried to say, I'm going to tell you to break the law. Now let's see if President Trump breaks the law. There's no doubt that there's a law. Nobody can argue that there's a law. The courts are saying, ignore it for now. Just give out the money. And I think that they were setting a trap for President Trump, because then they would impeach him because they said he broke the law. And President Trump, or whoever wrote this or whoever advised him, I think is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, because he's not saying he's doing anything. I have instructed our lawyers to ask the court how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible. So those of you who are on SNAP, it ain't coming anytime soon. When I say soon, 24, 48 hours, because now come tonight, or maybe even on Monday, one of the Department of Justice attorneys is going to go in and say, this is a law. Here's the actual law, Your Honor. This is the statute. You're asking President Trump to violate this. Can you specifically clarify how exactly you want this to happen? Tell us. We're all ears. We'd love for you to tell us how to break the law. Checkmate. You won't hear this on the news. They'll say, oh, President Trump is capitulating. I'm like, oh, you better read what he wrote. He didn't say Brooke Rollins. I didn't authorize Scott Besson. I didn't authorize Jameson. Because I talked to the lawyers, and they're going to come back to you and say, tell me how you want me to do this. And now you're going to see these judges, I think, back off. I think they have to back off. I think they're going to put themselves in impeachment territory. Because now, what do you say to that? Most people aren't going to pay attention to this. I want, hey, tell me how to do it. I'd love to do it. We don't know. You want to call me incompetent, whatever. Tell me how I break this law. And now the judge who says, and the judge did the same thing. So you've got to see it from both sides. The judge didn't issue the TRO. The judge said, come back on Monday and tell me how you're going to distribute this money. So the judge was, I can't tell them to do it. If I tell them to do it, I'm breaking the law. So what I'm going to do is tell them to come back with a plan so that they break the law. Yeah. And Trump just threw it right back at him. Hey, tell me how I break the law. That's what's going on. And nobody's going to tell you that. You can read it right there. It is already delayed enough due to the Democrats keeping the government closed through the monthly payment date. And even if we get immediate guidance, it will unfortunately be delayed while states get the money out. So he's letting everybody know, even if everything aligned, the stars all come together, it's still going to be delayed. You can't make somebody work faster. What's the judge going to say? Break the law by Tuesday. Sorry, doesn't work that way. If we are given the appropriate legal direction by the court, if anyone not understanding this, it's pretty clear he's putting the onus back on the court. He's telling the court, you're going to have to give us a roadmap here, because I'm looking at a cliff on this side and a waterfall on this side, and I don't know how we're going to do this with blindfolded. So you're going to have to give us the legal guidance direction. Yeah. So it's back on her. And let's finish here. If you give that to me, if you give me, and you read exactly if we are given the appropriate legal direction by the court, not the media, not the Democrats, you're now going to have to tell me exactly how we do that. It will then be my honor to provide the funding. Just like I did with military and law enforcement pay. The Democrats should quit the charade where they hurt people for their own political reasons and immediately reopen the government. If you use SNAP benefits, call the Senate Democrats and tell them to reopen the government now. Here's crying Chuck Schumer's office number. Bada bing, bada boom. You're not going to hear that. You're probably going to hear people in the media saying the judge said you got to do it. You got to give them the money. But they didn't read what the judge actually said. They paraphrased, as they often always do. Let me show you something. This is from this was about Judge Talawani. Judge Talawani waits, but Judge McConnell in Rhode Island, once one of Senator White's House largest donors, grants a TRO. So the guy in Rhode Island actually issued the TRO. Oddly, it's against Secretary Rollins and not the Democrat senators that are voting against reopening government. He's reading from the bench. So he issued an order against Brooke Rollins. Brooke Rollins has no authority to go over her boss. So imagine you work for a company and you're, the manager, and somebody sues you and says you need to send a check out from the company's account. You don't have that authority. They're trying to set a trap where Brooke Rollins and other people go to jail for violating an actual law. Can you imagine her saying, okay, let me just go ahead and wire this money out? You don't even know what kind of spending limit she personally has. How many people have to sign off at $9 billion being sent out? This is absolutely absurd. It says here, judge doesn't quite grant TRO, requiring Trump admin to make partial payments, SNAP payment. Judge Indra Talwani says USDA has that power, wants answer by Monday on how or on whether it will do so. This is insane. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. Someplace better. But in any event, I can see right now we are in some treacherous waters here. Some treacherous waters that don't make any sense whatsoever. Tom Fitton said, Judicial coup update. Anti-Trump Obama judge tries to take over food stamp program and force spending of money that hasn't been appropriated because of the shutdown. It's just not there. She had been overruled twice before trying to prevent Trump from enforcing immigration law, and then she tried to mandate taxpayer funding. This is the one of Planned Parenthood. And she got overruled. Yeah, you got to play Planned Parenthood. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. They go to appellate court. Yeah, she's crazy. Ignore it. So these low-level judges, Bo Asperger and what's this one called? Laini, whatever her name is, they've been doing this for months, mucking up the waters, knowing they have no authority over the president. It's only to secure time. This one, yeah. This is from Jonathan Turley. The judge who indicated today that she was going to order the Trump administration to continue to fund SNAP previously gave an injunction against the Trump administration for cutting off Planned Parenthood funding. Judge Indira Tawani's earlier order was set aside by 3 Biden appellate judges in September. And here she comes again. And they just keep going to these same nutbags over and over. But now she's in a real precarious situation because she's going to have to, as President Trump said, clarify, what exactly are you telling us? What exactly are we talking about here? And I think she's smart enough to know, oh, that didn't work the first side. What am I going to do? What clarification? What am I going to give them to tell them to break an existing law? Turley continued. He said the second federal judge in Rhode Island also ordered the use of emergency funds to continue to pay SNAP during the shutdown. Such orders raise serious questions of judicial overreach in ordering the use of discretionary or emergency funds. Overreach, questions of overreach? We passed that 6 exits ago. These people are in overreach hell at this point. They are doing anything and anything, literally anything, to stop Trump. Absolutely insane how this goes. So now, you understand that now about the SNAP benefits, right? So let's see what else has been going on here. So I want you to see this. Now we have a second or third judge now. A third judge issues a ruling today, and it was at 5 o'clock tonight. All right, look at this one. In an infuriating move, an activist judge blocks President Trump from ensuring citizenship to vote in federal elections. Judge Colleen Kollar-Kotelly has decided Trump cannot have the states require proof of citizenship for voter registration. She believes she is president of the United States. Ignore an appeal. It'll get overturned. We are facing a judicial coup who want newcomers to vote. So this judge comes out, and I don't know where they are, but issues a national injunction is you can't ask anybody, including that would be the states that already do it, like Florida. She's like, no, you can't ask people where. Wait a second. You cannot. What the hell's going on? What in the hell is going on? And how did we get here? Let me go back to the SNAP one. This is a good one. Legal arguments aside, there just isn't enough money in this reserve fund to fund SNAP. There's at most $5 to $6 billion. SNAP needs at least $9 billion a month. A month. And another $1.2 billion just for overhead for people to type out the checks and do all the data entry and all that stuff. So basically you're talking about almost $11 billion a month to issue SNAP. We are at the precipice. This is it. There's a cliff right in front of us. And so what's the admin supposed to do? Even if they comply with this delusional judge's deranged order, I guess I'd pick the poor states by SNAP's own definition of poverty, which means mostly the deep south states first. Definitely puts big blue states like California, New York, and even Illinois out of the picture. Sorry, Kevin, we don't have enough. What are you going to do? And then this stupid gambit from silly Schumer will just motivate Dems to hold out even longer, since they truly have no face-saving strategy, and eventually we'll run into December, and there will literally be zero available for SNAP, not even in contingency, nothing they can even argue in terms of there's money sitting there. It's zero. So this can kicking is not going to work. And it's happening at the worst time possible for Americans. I don't really care about the newcomers. I'm talking about Americans. It's absolutely insane. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. Let me stop here and take some comments, because this may be a little bit confusing. 9 billion, these people need jobs. Yeah, big time. That's 1 month. 1 month. SNAP needs the Doge effect. Exactly. That's $108 billion a year. $108 billion of your money that they're demanding be paid to these people. Let's wait for those billions to fall from the sky. And literally, that's what we're watching. Many of you have either owned businesses or work at a business, and you have to know, if it ain't there, it ain't there. There's no way a judge can say, she decides she's going to post the actual order, because that's all Democrats want. They want a judge to say Trump is wrong. And she goes, good news, a judge ruled the administration is required by law to use emergency funding to provide food assistance to families in need. No, she didn't. She said, come back Monday, show me how. It says, but to the plaintiffs, and she highlighted, defendants are required to use those this is the other one, Rhode Island, required to use those contingency funds as necessary for the SNAP program. So President Trump is going to go back and say, tell me how I do that when the law says X, Y, and Z. She's quoting a law, or he's quoting a law saying pursuant to 7 U.S.C. 2257. So if you're quoting a law and using 7 U.S.C. 2257 to justify your decision, I'm pretty sure in 7 U.S.C. 2257 it's going to say, as long as you don't break other laws. You kind of left that part out. You kind of didn't write that. That would be nice to know. Let me see before I get into the nuclear option. All right, so there's a couple different things I want to show you. So let's, what else did President Trump put out tonight that I wanted to show you before I get to the next spot? I'll do those at the end. There's some things he did that were kind of fluffy, but nonetheless. So let's get into the nuclear option.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is day 31 of the Democrat shutdown. As you can see, I have a special guest that I'm delighted to introduce to you in just a moment here. We have spoken daily, every day at this podium, about the real pain that Americans are experiencing because of the Democrat shutdown. We talked about the pain for our troops, for our federal workers, for American families. And this morning we want to speak specifically about the millions of American families that are going to feel real hardship because of the SNAP benefits drying up. And we have no one less than the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, who's in charge of that program, that will speak directly to that issue. But I want to begin first with just a word of sincere gratitude. Across this country, we've got millions of federal workers who have been showing up at the office every day without pay. This has drug on for a month now. Those federal workers have shown up for a month straight, not knowing when or if their next paycheck will be delivered. They're doing their jobs, and they're doing it valiantly, while the Senate Democrats simply refuse to do their job. Their most simple and basic responsibility is to keep the government in operation so that we can keep the services flowing to the American people and keep the country moving. But they're not doing that. So we just want to say to these federal workers, like the hundreds of civilian employees who are also spread throughout the country, like the ones in my district, for example, at the Bain Jones Army Community Hospital down at Fort Polk, or a big Army base there, we just want to say thank you for your diligence, for doing your job, for your service to the country, even though Democrats are withholding your paycheck. They are shameless in doing so. Throughout this shutdown, President Trump and his administration have done everything in their power, as we relay to you here every day, example after example. They've done everything they can to mitigate and reduce the harm to the American people. He's gone out of his way to find creative solutions to ensure our service members don't miss a paycheck, for example, to ensure that the WIC program, that the nutrition assistance to women, infants, and children is still flowing. President Trump has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that if there is any way to fund these programs that are drying up now, that he will do it. If there was any way to fund SNAP during the Democrat shutdown, you can be assured that your commander-in-chief would do it. But we are now reaching a breaking point. Thanks to Democrats voting no on government funding now 14 different times, SNAP benefits for millions of American families are drying up. It's about 1 in 8 people in this country who rely upon this to literally put food on their table. And the blame for this lies 100% with the senators sitting over there on the Democrat Party. They are the ones who have locked arms and decided over and over and over and over, 14 times now, to vote against these services being provided. And now I want you to think about that. You're going to have real people, real families. You can have children who will go hungry beginning this weekend when those resources dry up. They rely upon that, and yet...
So I want to stop right there. As much as I don't want this SNAP fiasco to continue, as much as I don't want to see newcomers getting SNAP benefits, and as much as I don't want to see the EBT ghetto queens getting their SNAP benefits, there are going to be some people who have a problem. That they're not, I mean, November 1st, I mean, I know when we go shopping, we shop where we want, when we want, how we want, do it online on Instacart. And a lot of people can't do that. They're dependent on those SNAP benefits coming. And so I'd like you guys to all think that, and I mean, remember that, and see if there's a local food bank near where you are. And if you can give whatever you can give to that local food bank, it'll help some of the people who live near you actually access the food that they need. And I think that's a noble cause for us to, as Americans, to start looking at and going, hey, there are going to be some people hurting, and we need to look out for those people, because there's nobody else doing it.
The Democrats continue with their political games in Washington while people are sitting around the dinner table without the resources that they need. The administration has done all it can to keep this program afloat, but the limits have been reached here. And what are the Democrats doing today? Where are the Democrats? Are they in the Senate today? No, they're out campaigning. While critical SNAP benefits run dry, the Democrats have skipped town. They've abandoned their post in the Senate, and the reason that's so important and noteworthy for the American people is the Senate is the only place where this can end. The last hope of reopening the government before millions of Americans go hungry. They've abandoned their post. Democrats are now this is the incredible part, they're now trying to somehow blame Republicans for cutting off SNAP, when Republicans, remember, are the ones who have voted 14 times for the SNAP benefits to flow. It's the Democrats who voted every single time to turn that off. The same Democrats who've been perfectly fine with defunding SNAP and WIC for over a month now are suddenly claiming to be outraged that Republicans and President Trump can't just wave some magic wand and fix the mess that they themselves have created. If they're suddenly waking up to the pain their reckless decision is causing, then there's one simple way to fix it. They can come back in here and vote to reopen the government. But we don't think they're going to do that. Now, this is what's interesting. The most recent development is that you've got many more people now calling on the Senate Democrats to do the right job. There's a handful of moderates still in the Democrat Party, and they are very upset about that. The tension is rising. You had Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, for example, who just yesterday, I think it was, accused his own party of, quote, playing chicken with the food security of 42 million Americans. He's right. And you've seen now the avalanche of people and organizations and institutions calling on the Democrats to reopen the government and vote for the clean CR.
If you haven't seen that, the CEO of United Airlines, the head of the Teamsters, a lot of big companies, big organizations recognize what is happening right now. Because if you ask a Democrat a very simple question, what does it take for the government to reopen? Don't lie to me. What does it take? Well, the answer is it takes you agreeing to the continuing resolution. Their answer is, well, we got to negotiate. We need it bipartisan, because they don't want the big, beautiful bill that was passed to stand. They are thinking that this is their ability or their way to destroy the big, beautiful bill. They knew they got stomped when it got passed. And so that tells me they've been plotting for some time. Hey, down there, oh yeah, November 1st, all this stuff is going to run out of money. Let's tighten the screws against the Republicans. No, you're not tightening the screws against Republicans. You're tightening against your own people. President Trump was very telling to me when he said most of the people on food stamps are Democrats. I don't know if he's already looked at the data. I don't even know if that's true. But he's like, most of the people are your own people. And so if you are a Democrat on food stamps, the people you need to talk to are the ones you voted for. those of us who aren't, we're okay. We voted for President Trump. We don't want to see this happen. We were happy to see the big, beautiful bill pass. We like the idea of extracting all this stuff out of the budget. And now you're trying to find a way to put it back in. There is nothing to negotiate. That's got to be something that's drummed into people's heads. Oh, we got to sit down. He's got to sit down and talk. No, he doesn't. We're done talking. Sign the CR or else. And again, I'm not a lawyer. If any of you guys are lawyers, you feel free to chime in. But by asking the court to clarify exactly what you want us to do legally, I think at that point she's going to have to punt. She's going to say it's not my job. Well, then what the hell are we here for? It's going to be very hard for her to tell the President of the United States to ignore the current law and do something. I don't see it happening.
You've got labor unions. You've got the largest airlines in America. You've got independent voters. Working class Americans across the country, they are all pleading with the Democrats to do their job and stop using their hardships, the people's hardships, for the Democrats' political games in Washington. Yesterday, there was a lot said, written about an editorial that was in the Washington Post. I commend it to your reading if you haven't seen that. But it reads in part just one line out of that. I would like to stand up here and read you the whole thing. The Washington Post, as you know, is not generally on my side. They said, quote, Democrats openly acknowledge that they refuse to do this, reopen the government, because it would mean giving up their leverage. If they persist, it will mean families start to go hungry. Now, look, this isn't some novel idea. As you know, the Democrats have always traditionally said, breathlessly, given speeches passionately saying that you've got to keep the government funded. You should never shut it down. It would be so dangerous. And we've recounted this over and over. I mean, I literally could be here all day reading the Democrats' own past statements on the perils of shutting down the government, but I'm just going to highlight a couple this morning because they're relevant and timely. I'll begin with Senator Coons. He's the senior Democrat senator from Delaware. In 2013, he said this, quote, our democracy cannot function if the majority party threatens to shut down the government unless it gets its way, unquote. And that was Senator Coons in 2013. And what is he saying now? Earlier this week, he said, quote, frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. Quite a switch. Bernie Sanders has got a lot of airtime here lately, and back in 2018, Senator Bernie Sanders said this, quote, the truth is that shutting down the government is a serious and dangerous action that we must do everything possible to prevent. That was in 2018. You know what he said this month? Quote, if we reopen the government, we lose our leverage. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse in 2013. The shutdown was, quote, entirely unnecessary and has harmed our economy and our reputation in the world. But if we also can't forget, we must never again allow extremist hostage-taking to create this kind of disruption. That was 2013. Just days ago, the senator from Rhode Island said the opposite. It's the only lever we have, meaning the shutdown. What he means is that the pain of the American people is their political lever. I guess he's forgotten his cries of alarm over the extremist hostage-taking. And how about the House? And infamously now, we all know, the Democrat whip, Catherine Clark, the second highest ranking Democrat in the House, said, quote, just last year, she said, they are taking a non-issue, a false flag, and saying this is the reason we can't proceed. It is a dangerous precedent to be threatening a shutdown. That's what she said in 2024. And what'd she say about a week ago? The opposite, quote, of course, there will be families that are going to suffer here, but it's one of the few leverage times we have.
Why do you think they keep talking about leverage? Why is it that each one of them has said that at this point, that it's our only leverage? You see, when you have nothing else to go on, everything that you stand for, your entire party, is completely defeated. You have nothing to offer the American people but pain. And you're now using pain as leverage. If we can get enough people upset that they don't have food, if we get enough people upset that they don't, have this paid or that paid or whatever, as you're seeing on X, which I think is a major psyop. I do not think that both of these videos are real. I just don't. I know if you get Snap, you can't have a whole bunch of assets. And we keep seeing these people with, obviously they're on a phone, and they've got eyelashes and nose rings and everything else. I think, and they're making money with the clicks and the views. So I don't think those are the real people. Like tomorrow, I've told you, I am going to go to Walmart and take some pictures. I want to see people in there, complaining. And if you go and look yourself, no, ladies don't, guys, if you're going to go to Walmart this weekend, go and just look for yourself. If you don't see a huge uproar, then they've lost this battle as well. Obviously, people need their food, but I'm pretty sure most people who have children gonna find a way to get these kids fed. I think it's all a complete charade. I think it's a shell game, and I'm pretty sure if you're gonna spend millions, tens of millions on a No Kings rally, you better find a way to get these people some food. Where's BLM? BLM, Black Lives Matter. Raised a whole bunch of money. Are you not going to try and feed people? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Many House members have echoed the same hypocrisy, and I'm not going to waste our time with it this morning, but I do want to leave you with this quote from Chuck Schumer, because he is the actual architect of the shutdown. He is the one that is preventing the Senate Democrats from doing the right thing. In March of this year, as you know, he voted on the same CR to avert a shutdown. And he said then, quote, in his speech on the Senate floor and in a bunch of interviews, this is what he said on the Senate floor, quote, the CR was certainly bad, but a shutdown would be 15 or 20 times worse. It was a vote of principle. And today, Chuck Schumer, entirely void of principle by his own estimation, said, quote, every day gets better for his party. Tell that to the millions of American families facing a hunger crisis now as a direct result of his failed leadership and shenanigans. Those Democrats have all collectively voted 14 times over the last several weeks to reject the clean continuing resolution to fund the government, and they've made it abundantly clear they're going to continue to do that, to hold the American people hostage, so long as it serves their political interest to look tough to the leftist radicals in their base. Republicans have done our part to end the government, the Democrat shutdown, and now it's time for Democrats to do theirs. The path forward is simple. Please, every American who is concerned about this, every American that is feeling the harm, you should call the Senate Democrats and tell them to stop the nonsense. Echo the voices of the unions, of the airlines, of hardworking people everywhere, and tell them to stop doing this and open the government. We have to do that. 42 million Americans are set to miss meals starting tomorrow.
No, it's not 42 million Americans, 42 million people. Now, at some point, I'll let him finish, but at some point, stop asking these people to dance with you. Stop continuing to ask the girl to dance with you. If she doesn't want to dance with you, stop. Your messaging is fine at this point. You've told everybody, go call them. Right now, it seems like the Republicans, and it comes across, the Republicans are desperate to get them to sign it. When I think you should take the other way of showing this. Hey, come out with your daily press conference and to say it's day 31 where the Democrats have decided they're going to continue starving people. Put it that way. Stop asking them to sign it. I don't care if they sign it at this point. I really don't. Most of us are realizing right now the government being shut down doesn't affect us. The military still getting paid? Yep. They're still defending the country? Yes. President Trump's still doing what he's got to do? Yes. I don't care. I don't care. Stop asking them. I do care about people not being able to get fed, but at this point, Billy Joel said it, I didn't start the fire. We did not start this fire. They did. Let them catch some heat. You're good. We're behind you 100%. I know there's been some people who got pissed off at me because I'm saying, yeah, don't do it. Don't open it back up. And if you do open it back up, make people reapply. Make them show. I think that's why the other lady said, other judge doesn't want IDs, because at that point, you're going to have to go back into the food stamp office and apply all over again.
Yep, that's what they want.
You remember another aspect of the big, beautiful bill that's causing problems. I think you remember. One of the big things with the big, beautiful bill in regards to food stamps is that there is now, it's actually the law, that you have to have 80 hours of work or community service per month. Very low bar, 80 hours a month. So that's another thing they're trying to put away. They don't want people to have to, quote, qualify. That was in the big, beautiful bill. So the continuing resolution that they have to sign includes all of these things. Some of the Democrats are calling them poison pills. Because what do you mean they gotta work? Yeah, they gotta work. The idea is this is supposed to be a bridge, not a hammock. You're not supposed to get food stamps and just hang out in the sun. You're supposed to go to work. Maybe dirty work, maybe hard work. But it's work nonetheless. You just don't get free stuff anymore. That's why the Democrats are pissed off. Because they now know that if this continuing resolution gets signed, every one of these people are going to have to go through a qualification. And they're going to have to report. And they're going to have to put 80 hours in someplace. That's the problem. A lot of people aren't understanding how this ties to the big, beautiful bill.
And this should be the easiest vote they've ever taken in their lives. I don't want to belabor this point any longer, because I'm delighted to introduce you to our guest for the daily press conference here. Everybody knows Brooke Rollins, the incomparable, as I call her, the incomparable Brooke Rollins. She leads the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And, of course, her department operates and oversees SNAP benefits to all these tens of millions of Americans. We're fortunate to have her here today. She's going to talk about the devastating effects of the Democrats' decisions on all this, and I'm delighted to give her the podium now. Brooke, so thanks so much for being here, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mike, Mr. Speaker. Really great to be here with everyone. I was reminded I was in the Speaker's backyard in Louisiana over the weekend and on Friday, and we went to a restaurant there, and our waiter by the name of Joe was wonderful. He was a multi-generational Louisiana and New Orleans, and he was our server, and he was just so impressive. And towards the end, he brought up that, well, this is a job he had to take because he was furloughed and so was not making any money, and he worked for the federal government. He didn't know who I was. And I said, well, Joe, I can appreciate that. You know, I'm sort of in that world as well. And I said, well, where do you work? And he said, well, I work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in their New Orleans office as part of the financial team. And so it just really brought home for me, to echo what Mike said, just thanking so many thousands of federal workers who are showing up, who are still doing their job, who aren't getting paid, those that are now concerned about putting food on the table and making their mortgages and paying their rent, but to be out in the country.
She said that earlier, and it made me, what do you mean? Paying their mortgages. I'd love to know how many people have an asset like a house paying a mortgage and are on food stamps. I hadn't heard that before. That I don't know if that was a slip of the tongue or is it something new. I thought you couldn't own assets and be on public assistance. You guys can let me know in the comments. I didn't know you could own a home and be on food stamps.
In Indiana yesterday and understand the real sort of pain that's being felt. But just to echo a couple of the themes that Speaker Johnson talked about, again, the idea that the Democrats have now for 14 different votes voted to keep the government closed is absolutely unconscionable. Every day they hold the federal government hostage. They are leaving millions of families' livelihoods and critical benefits, including SNAP, hanging in the balance. Of course, we all know the 13,000 air traffic controllers working without pay, many turning to Uber, taking second jobs in restaurants, etc., as this shutdown continues. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees are not receiving a paycheck. Thousands of small business loans are going unapproved each month because of the shutdown, equating to almost $4 billion in capital being taken out of the pockets of small business owners across this country, truly the backbone of our economy. It is a fact that Democrats shut down the government over free health care for illegal aliens and their $1.5 trillion partisan wish list. Democrats need to stop playing politics with the livelihoods of hardworking Americans and open the government now by voting for the clean resolution. We are here today because SNAP benefits run dry tomorrow. So the truth has finally revealed itself, hasn't it? Democrat support for programs like SNAP is now reduced to cynical control over people's lives. This last month has shown that the party who constantly says it puts people over politics does the complete opposite. Millions of Americans, as of tomorrow, will no longer receive SNAP and potentially WIC or even a paycheck. Democrats have instigated a disgusting dereliction of duty unlike anything I have seen in all my years doing this work, all to favor illegal aliens and other radical far-left policies that benefit only a small, tiny sliver of their base. I am embarrassed for Chuck Schumer. He is going out of his way to please the likes of Zohran Mamdani, a man who is polarizing America with his socialist rhetoric and anti-American principles.
By the way, I don't know if you saw, I should have downloaded the video. Now Zohran Mamdani is going to try the same thing Newsom tried, where if you own a business in New York and you decide to leave and move someplace else, they're going to tax you. They're going to keep taxing you on the money that you were making in New York. Don't know how you're going to do that. See, everything that, and I bring this up because this is what the Democrats are doing. They have no ability to do anything. And all Zohran wants to do is the same thing these Democrats want to do, is they want to get it to the court system. They know immediately they will be sued. They know immediately if you try to tax a business that's moving to Texas, they're going to tell you to go pound sand, and then they're going to have to go to court and fight it, and you're hoping that you get, a commie judge. The Democrats have thought this out for quite some time, and they had fail-safes built in. And those fail-safes are lower-level judges. And so I don't know if President Trump has any option but to drop the nuclear option.
The very essence of government responsibility is to the citizens who live and work here to protect their interests first, unless you are a Democrat in the United States Senate. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are doing all this because they fear the socialists and the radicals to their left. Ironically, in leaving American families hungry and American children without food, they are giving a preview of what those socialists will do to every one of us if they ever take power.
And you know what else? To tell you, she was talking about, and she was talking about this story about the server waiter who was waiting on her and Mike Johnson in a restaurant. He says he had to take a second job because he got furloughed. Why is it that people who were getting furloughed have the ambition and desire and need to get a different job during the interim, but the welfare queens don't? Why is it that anybody who has a family and wants to be a productive member of society will find that other job? They will drive an Uber. They will drive for Instacart or DoorDash. They will go and get a job in a restaurant. But the other ones are just making TikTok videos and complaining about it. Something wrong with that.
What you're really seeing here is the end of the Democrats as a responsible party of government. a party that ends governance, a party that ignores Americans, a party that cannot master the most basic principles and processes of government, is a party that cannot be trusted with the reins of power.
All right, so she hit something there that I've been saying. They have nothing. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how they got to be a party with zero ideas, zero functionality, zero ability to provide people with a meaningful message. To the point now, all they have is lower court judges. Oops. Let that sink in real quick here. As you're hearing all this and watching everything, you have to realize at this point, this party is no longer viable. Which makes you wonder, why are they all trying to be Democrats? Why are you not doing something different? Why are you still in lockstep with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries? What do they have on you? What do they have on you that's forcing you to basically destroy America for the benefit of newcomers? See, there's something really wrong with these people. I can't believe that there are 50 senators and 200 people in the House, all of them, which have no ideas to provide something for America. No, nothing. Why would you continue to be a Democrat when your leaders have no ideas? What the hell are you doing as a politician? You're wasting time. Your donors are going to dry up because there's nothing to donate for. What are you doing? They don't seem to have an answer, which makes them dangerous.
It isn't oriented toward anything but the end of the system in which it exists. SNAP is arguably just the beginning. The logical and inevitable end to where this all goes is the Democrats and the whole superstructure of constitutional government. President Trump has made it clear: reopen the government, get government funding back on solid footing, restore the confidence of American families who count on programs like SNAP, and stop treating them and their well-being as pawns in a political game, according to the Democrats. Prioritize American citizens, prioritize American families, and prioritize American children. I would like to make a quick note and then want to obviously leave lots of time for questions. Yesterday, I was in Indiana and I was visiting a soybean farm, 6th generation soybean farm, the Everetts. And they have about 1,500 acres right outside of Indianapolis. We were harvesting corn, but they also do soybeans. And as I was there, it occurred to me that what President Trump has been doing over the last week or weeks in fighting across the world to open up markets for American farmers, for American families, while the Democrats are back here playing political games. It must stop. We must get the government open, and our citizens and these voters and our taxpayers and our families and our children expect no less. Thank you.
Many of you guys know I'm a Dolphins fan. I used to have a Dolphins channel. Last night, Robin and I went down to watch the Dolphins get spanked yet once again. And I find it odd because I know when I go to the stadium, I am not looking at 70,000 Republicans. I know I'm looking at a very diverse crowd, a hugely diverse crowd. A lot of them Hispanic, a lot of black. I mean, it's amazing. It's a melting pot in the stadium down here in South Florida. And then yesterday we played Baltimore, the Ravens, who kicked our butt, and there was a huge contingent of people from Baltimore. From Baltimore. As we were going up the escalator, Robin saw a lady adorned in Ravens gear, and she struck up a conversation with her, which you're not supposed to do with the opposing team. Robin didn't know any better, so she was talking to the lady. And then the lady goes, yeah, we flew down from Baltimore to watch the football game. More than likely, this black woman, probably a Democrat, flew down here to watch a football game with 70,000 other people. And I happened to, peruse the audience, and I just said to myself, this is America. You're not Republican, you're not Democrat, you're not black, you're not white, you're not Hispanic, you're a Ravens fan or a Dolphins fan. You're purple or Aqua. Nobody cared what your political affiliation is. And I also have to know, as you look around the stadium, that these are all people that are working or have their own money. They have flown down here, or if you're here, you're here. It's not cheap to park. The tickets, even though they suck, the tickets aren't cheap. And all the concessions and merchandise that go along with it, none of that's cheap. These are all people who are doing something with their lives. I cannot fathom that there are 42 million real people on food stamps. Well, you can't convince me of that. I think there's some fudgy numbers there that the Democrats are worried about people finding out. I believe that there are Democrats who are backdooring some SNAP payments. There is no way 42 million people are on food stamps. People, not Americans. 42 million people would be nearly 15 to 19% of the population of the entire country, which means in a stadium full of 70,000 people, 10,000 of those people, 12,000 of those people are supposedly on food stamps.